Just like to acknowledge the happy birthday balloons down at Councilmember Boone's seat. We're celebrating her birthday. It's also another special day, but I'll let her tell you about that later in the meeting. And with that, I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Council President Doug Shipman.
Here.
Council members Post 1 at large Michael Julian Bond.
Here.
Post 2 at large Matt Westmoreland. Council Post 3 at large Keisha Shawn Waits. Council District 1 Jason H. Winston.
Here.
Council District 2 Amir Faroki. Council District 3 Byron D. Amos.
Here.
Council District 4 Jason Dozier. Council District 5 Liliana Bakhtiari. Council District 6 Alex Wan. Council District 7 Howard Shook. Council District 8 Mary Norwood. Council District 9 Dustin Hillis. Council District 10 Andrea L. Boone. Council District 11 Marcy Collier Overstreet. Council District 12 Antonio Lewis.
Let's go.
Quorum present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. The agenda was sent out ahead of time. Unless there are any changes, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. It's moved by Mr. Winston. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Overstreet. Is there any discussion of the adoption? We can do this via unanimous consent without objection. Any objection to the motion to adopt? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, please sound the count on unanimous consent on the motion to adopt the agenda.
Unanimous consent of members present is 9 yeas, 0 nays.
9 yeas, 0 nays. The motion to adopt the agenda carries. It's my pleasure to now ask for our invocation. The Reverend Winnie Verghese is here today. She is the rector of St. Luke's. She is also a proud alum of Agnes Scott College. We're very glad to have her today to present our invocation.
All right, again, good afternoon. My name is Winnie Verghese. I'm the rector of St. Luke's Episcopal Church on Peachtree Street, just north of the downtown corridor. And I'm honored to be with you all. We hosted an equitable dinner at St. Luke's yesterday, one of the many being held around this city this week, to commemorate the 116th anniversary of the Atlanta Race Massacre of September 22nd, 1906. The brutal murder by white mobs of black Atlantans going about their daily business on that day. Hatred and violence fomented by media and politicians for that century's versions of cliques and fear-based votes. The grand building that houses St. Luke's, and I hope you'll all come visit, was completed in 1906. A momentous accomplishment at the time, a tribute to the influential Atlantans that were its members. After the massacre, the rector, Dr. Carrie Wilmer, invited Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois from Atlanta University, just down the street, to the church for a public conversation about racial unrest in the city. After a time of such brutality, it is clear from the documents of the time that white and black Atlanta experienced those days very differently. What might have seemed sensible back then for those unaffected are so callous and so brutal looking back from today. We are convicted by our history at St. Luke's, which is Christian language for being challenged by the spirit of truth, to always remember that we live within the river of history. We are not merely spectators or commentators. There is right and wrong, and history, and for us, our God, will judge us. And so let us not make peace with accommodation or oppression, because it is the way things have always been. But rather let us be prepared to stand in friendship and judgment with the one who chooses to act in history alongside the outcast, the prisoner, the hungry, those whom the powerful might forget. May Almighty God, the Holy One, send down upon those who govern this great city of Atlanta the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve to promote the well-being of all. Amen.
As we stay for a moment in the spirit of reflection, are there any that we should recognize who have passed since we last met? Will we please just take a moment of silence? Thank you so much. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Without objection from my colleagues, we have a very special guest at my invitation today. Our relationship with our county partners is such an important one. And today we are very fortunate to have CEO Michael Thurman from DeKalb County with us today. And I have asked him if he would like to address this body and the public for a few minutes on the nature of our collaboration. And I would just say that I think I speak on behalf of the entire council that we are so glad you are here, and we are glad that you are in the position you are in to be leading one of our most important partners in DeKalb County. So thank you, Mr. Bond.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Sorry?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion, well, without objection, thank you. Motion to suspend the rules been seconded. Is there any objection? Mr. Clerk, please sound the count.
Unanimous consent of members present is 10 yeas, 0 nays.
10 yeas, 0 nays. Motion to suspend the rules carries. Mr. CEO, you have the floor.
First, Mr. President, let me express to you my personal appreciation and to state to you how honored I am as CEO to stand here on behalf of our governing authority and approximately 800,000 residents of DeKalb County, and to say thank you for this unique honor. It is greatly appreciated, and I thank you and fellow council members for allowing me this brief moment. First, I would take this moment to introduce the lovely First Lady of DeKalb County, Ms. Zola Fletcher Thurman. Please stand. Now there will be peace in the Thurman's household this evening. But first and secondly, I want to congratulate you, Mr. President, and the members of this council for the outstanding work that you are doing on behalf of the citizens of Atlanta. I encourage you to not grow weary in your good doings. And I remind you, as I talk to Councilman Lewis and Bond and Councilman Overstreet and Councilman Boone earlier and Councilman Amos, that leadership is forged not on the days when the sun is shining and when the birds are singing. Leadership is forged in moments of conflict and crisis and often indecision. You and I, we have been called at this time, in this place, to stand in the gap as we continue to respond to the ravages of an international pandemic. Do not grow weary in your good doings. Know also that as CEO of DeKalb County, we are so proud that nearly 50,000 residents of Atlanta are also DeKalb County residents. We share constituents, we share challenges, and most importantly, we share opportunities. I'm so proud that Atlanta is my capital city. I pledge to you that I will work with you and beside you as you continue to do this great work. This is a historic moment, but it speaks to the fact that we know that we must work together. Crime and criminals don't respect county lines or city limits. We have to work together. Councilman Bond, people who need health care don't respect county lines or city limits. Jobs that are created. You might live in Atlanta, but work in DeKalb. Your children might go to school in another jurisdiction. Only by collectively rising up and standing shoulder to shoulder can we succeed where, frankly, some others may have failed. So thank you for this moment, Councilman Winston and Amos and Shook. Thank you, Council Lady Norwood. Thank you, Mr. President, for extending this honor to me, and I extend the hand of friendship and cooperation to you. God bless you, and may He continue to keep you.
Mr. CEO, since you are on the agenda and we've suspended the rules, would you mind coming up and taking a picture with all of us up here as we do with those that we honor? We're honored by your presence today.
I would be honored, and I would also like to extend a happy birthday wish to the fearless lady who never stops, who never halts, who never ceases to speak truth to power, and that is Council Lady Boone. Happy birthday.
I'd also just like to note that photobombing our picture was the Chief of Staff from the Mayor's office, Odie Donald. We are very glad to have him over to also reinforce the relationship between the Mayor's office and the CEO's office. Thank you again, Mr. CEO. We'll now move to our first proclamation commendation award of today. Would all of those associated with the recognition of HelloFresh please come forward and join us up on the podium. I also think that we have Fulton County Commissioner Natalie Hall with us. I would invite her forward. Councilmember Bond, please come forward to present this proclamation.
Thank you, Ms. Ooh, can I turn it off? Thank you, Mr. President. And as our distinguished guests make their way forward, I just want to say for the last calendar year, it has been an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to work with these groups and volunteers in distributing food to Atlanta residents unfailingly every week, every Wednesday. And as you can see, there are a lot of people who are involved, who come out every week to volunteer. And we're really, really pleased to have all of their selfless support. So I want to get my notes here. So I want to make sure I don't do anything incorrect. Oh, and of course, we're joined from counter corner across the street, the great and honorable Natalie Hall, who's also, Commissioner Hall, who's also participated with us in distributing HelloFresh. And so we have been to every city council district. We've been to untold churches and community centers. And with all of that, with the enduring and unfailing work of Second Helpings Atlanta and Pratt Industries, who's also undergirded this effort, we have distributed 500,000 meals from HelloFresh within this calendar year. And so, with that, I just want to recognize a few people before I read the proclamation and pertinent part. We want to give special thanks, obviously, to Second Helpings. We have Andrea Geron that's here, the Executive Director, and Anissa Hayward from HelloFresh. I don't believe that she is here today. Oh, she is where? Oh, okay. I see her. And, of course, we want to thank Mr. Pratt from Pratt Industries. Pratt Industries is, I think, the fourth largest corrugated box company in the country. And he gave $500,000 on Wednesday to continue this effort. We want to thank our community partners, our mayor, the Honorable Andre Dickens' Office of Immigrant Affairs, and Welcome Atlanta. We want to thank State Senator Dan Orrock, Fulton County Commission Chair Rob Pitts, Fulton County Commissioner Natalie Hall, Fulton County Commissioner Marvin Arrington, Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labatt, the City of Atlanta Fire Rescue Department, the City of Atlanta Department of Corrections, the City of Atlanta Office of the City Solicitor, Raines Carter. Is Raines here? I know Hala Carey is here. Is Raines here? Okay, we want to give it. We got Mr. McGee here also. We want to give them special recognition. We want to thank our employees from the Office of Watershed Management. We want to thank Shaking the Nation's Pastor Mary Smith, Frontline Response, Clover Health, Kyle's Kids Foundation, Concerned Black Clergy, Green Shades Foundation, the Vine City Civic Association, Hosea Helps Incorporated, Antioch Urban Ministries, Making a Way Foundation, and special thanks to our lead organizers, of course, with the Post-Wanted Large Office on behalf of the City Council, Ken Morris of the Morris Cafe, Claudia Nash of the Atlanta Fire Rescue Department, Jermaine Clark, Mark Henderson, and of course Vanessa Manley, who in association with my office, she is the, she's not only the wind beneath our wings, she's the glue that makes all this happen. Is our Fire Chief, Mr. Chief Smith here? Is he here? Did you say? I want to recognize Chief Smith because he's actually come out and what they used to say in the old South, toted some boxes to help to distribute to folks. But without further ado, I'm going to get my notes together so I can read this proclamation. And I do want to recognize some of the Second Helpings board members are here. I know Steve and Sherry Leibovitz is here. There's another board member, Mr. Sterling, where are you?
Right here.
Okay. Oh, how are you doing, Mr. Sterling? Give us a good wave. Okay. So I'm not used to doing it. I'm used to winging it. But I want to get this right, so I'm trying to call up my notes. Here we go. Now, this isn't AIDS. This is beautiful. This is because I have beautiful eyes, not because I have bad eyes. Let's see. In recognition of 500,000 meals donated to HelloFresh and Pratt Industries and Second Helpings Atlanta. Whereas in September is Hunger Action Month, and 1 in 7 children and 1 in 9 adults in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area, aren't sure where their next meal is coming from. Whereas the Meals with Meaning program launched in August of 2021 by HelloFresh, Pratt Industries, and Second Helpings Atlanta in response to elevated rates of food insecurity in Atlanta due to the global COVID-19 pandemic, whereas residents should not have to choose between paying critical bills and feeding their families, whereas the Meals with Meanings provides meal kits to community residents in need, and each kit contains the fresh ingredients for recipes to make 8 nourishing meals for a family of 4. Whereas the Meals with Meaning meal kits are packaged each week by volunteers from Second Helpings Atlanta and distributed every Wednesday at various pickup stations throughout the city of Atlanta in support of the Atlanta City Council, Post 1, on behalf of the Mayor's Office of International and Immigrant Affairs. And whereas HelloFresh, the world's leading meal kit company, Pratt Industries, the 5th largest corrugated packing company in the United States, and food rescue organization Second Helpings Atlanta have surpassed a milestone of 500,000 meals distributed in the Atlanta community through the Meals with Meaning program. And whereas with rising inflation, fast food costs, and widespread food insecurity affecting Atlanta residents, HelloFresh, Pratt Industries, and Second Helpings Atlanta has pledged to extend the Meals with Meaning program through 2023. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we, the members of the Atlanta Council, on behalf of the citizens of the city of Atlanta, do hereby proclaim this day as HelloFresh, Pratt Industries, and Second Helpings Day in our fair city. In witness thereof, I have set my hand and have caused the seal of the city of Atlanta to be hereunto affixed. Congratulations. Okay, here we go. No, step up. But just like on late night TV, but wait, there's more. So we'll now turn the podium over to Commissioner Natalie Hall, who has a proclamation from the Fulton County government, the Fulton County Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Hall.
Oh my gosh. It is completely my honor and pleasure to also provide a proclamation when our esteemed Atlanta City Council member, Michael Julian Bond, asked me about doing these meals across my district. Of course, I said yes. It is outstanding what HelloFresh and Second Helpings is doing in the community, and many of the neighborhoods in my district are in great need of this. We ran out of food every time we hosted this in collaboration with Councilmember Bond at the Harriet G. Darnell Center and the Helene S. Mills Senior Multipurpose Facility. And they were 2 great women. If you don't know, you need to look them up. And I just want to present this proclamation. So many of the things that were already said were said, but the most important part is now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fulton County Board of Commissioners recognizes HelloFresh for their service milestone of 500,000 meals donated to families in Atlanta, and does hereby proclaim Monday, September 19th, 2022 as HelloFresh Appreciation Day in Fulton County, Georgia. Congratulations.
Are there any council, well, we had the opportunity, and we always extend the opportunity to other council members to partner with us. Are there any council members that would like to speak? Let's bring up our council president now. Doug Shipman was there with us on Wednesday for the official press conference. And so, President Shipman.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment. This is an incredible milestone, but I think it's very important to recognize 2 things that really embody something very special about Atlanta about this moment. One is the public-private nonprofit partnership that this effort represents. This is a true collaboration between government, the philanthropic sector, and private industries to come together to do something extraordinary that none of us could do alone and reach communities that would not be reached otherwise. And so I think it is the best of the history of Atlanta. Also, I think that this is such a special organization. Second Helpings grew out of, some of you know, but some of you may not, it grew out of a conversation at a synagogue when individuals came together and said, we should be doing something to try to make sure that food doesn't go to waste, but instead goes to those who are in need. And out of that conversation in one congregation came a small effort as a nonprofit that now has served 500,000 people across our city. It is truly a tremendous effort that came from a faith community, but is an act of civic faith. It is an act of civic faith believing that we can, in fact, help those who are most in need and that we can come together to do it. And so I just am so excited for this effort, but I'm also in awe of the effort that it has taken to get here. So congratulations, and I know that this is a milestone on to even bigger numbers. So thank you.
Are there any of my colleagues who would like to say a word?
And I got to look at Ms. Nash for blowing that whistle, because I know that's what you do. But everybody has a different role when it comes to these food giveaways. We talk about feeding over 5,000 people in our area, but thank you, Councilmember Michael Julian Burns, because I've never had to ask you to come to Cleveland Avenue, Metropolitan, or Jonesboro Road. You were already coming. And so my role wasn't to do any planning. My role was to work for Ms. Nash and with the young fire and rescue squad that is there, and that's part of the job. That's part of what we do here as Atlanta.
If you listen to the bass line, that's Terry from the SOS Band. But before I bring Andre up, I just want to give you one fact. There is a spiritual component to this. We've been doing this for a year, and it has never rained on us, ever. Now, it's rained on Wednesdays. It's rained in the morning. It's rained at noon. It's rained at 2:30. We start at 3. But it has never rained on us once we started this distribution. So I always like to point that out. But Andre would like to take the mic.
Thank you.
We want you to come, because you came all the way up from Southeast Georgia.
Thank you.
From Hello Fresh.
Yes, from HelloFresh.
Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I am Anicia Hanyard. I am the Director of Operations for the HelloFresh Distribution Center, which is located in Noonan, Georgia. Also representing HelloFresh is my boss,